back on the same team. We often talk about how business, like sports, relies on championship mindset, and today's guest embodies that perfectly in the real world of real estate. It is one thing to buy a property, it's another ball game to scale from zero to owning over 150 units and managing 700 doors in 5 years. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens through systems, culture, and relentless drive to execute. We're sitting down with Jamie Friedel. Am I pronouncing your last name right?
Yep, Friedel. Yep.
Okay. I'm sitting down with Jamie Friedel, broker owner of Plains Asset Group and the managing partner of Rent Sucks and Flipping Sucks. Jamie has built a reputation for structuring creative deals and taking on the heavy lifting of revitalizing distressed properties that owners might walk away from. We're going to talk about how he built his roster, how he creates wins in complex scenarios, and how he's helping transform neighborhoods right here in Siouxland. Let's get started. Jamie, thanks for joining us, and thanks for agreeing to chat with Katie and I.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
To start with, kind of just curious, did you really only get involved in real estate in 2019? There was no
Yes.
involvement before that?
Nope, zero.
Dang. What were you doing before 2019?
Before 2019, I was working at Wilson Trailer Factory here in Sioux City, Iowa,
Okay.
for a long time, and decided I wanted to do something different.
What
So
sparked
I
you to
went,
real estate?
yeah, well, I went back to school. I went to college, and then I started cleaning a medical facility at night. So I just was doing that. So I was just going 24 hours a day. Had a baby during that time too. So it was just, it was all very busy. So I've been busy pretty much since that day. Since that day I left and started this new journey. But yeah, I joined all the clubs I could. I started tutoring while I was there, and joining accounting club is how I ended up where I am today.
Nice. So what was the connection or just in the accounting thing that got you transitioned to real estate?
So my business partner was talking about needing somebody like me to someone I was in accounting club with. And she said, well, I have the perfect guy. Here's his number. Next thing I know, he gives me a call. I come help him with some accounting work. He's going to buy some properties. Want to know if I would help him with that. I was like, sure. So literally at that moment, right there, right at the beginning of 2019 is when I got started. I listened and read. So when I would clean this medical facility, I'd put on headphones. And usually that's how I would do my textbooks. They're just reading constantly, just listening. So I learned the whole landlord-tenant law. While I was doing that, I listened to it over and over and over, got it all figured out everything I had to do, and just kept going from there.
So, really your journey into real estate didn't start as a realtor or it was more, hey, I met an investor. They're looking
Yep.
for somebody like me to partner with, and it was a good fit.
Yes.
Still partners today?
Yes. Yeah. So we started about the first year. I was just running his properties, got my real estate license during that time. And then just kept going, and it was working out really well. And he asked me if I wanted to be his partner and start buying properties into this new LLC, which is Rent Sucks. So that's exactly what we did. We started that, and I just hit the ground running.
Nice. What were you going to school for?
Business administration, just to see
Yeah.
what would happen.
Yeah. What'd you do at Wilson?
I did all kinds of things. I did started off on the line. I worked there for 15 years.
Dang, nice.
I started off on the line, just went to machines and ended up in the aftermarket department.
Okay. Yeah, dang, that's pretty awesome. Yeah,
Quite the transition.
yeah, yeah, that's like what school were you going to?
I just went to WIT.
Okay. And somebody in
Yep.
that accounting club, huh? Do you ever
Yep.
wonder, was that a teacher or who was the person in the accounting club that
It was
connected
just
you?
a classmate,
Dang.
just a person that was interning at a place where my partner went, John, where he was meeting with his accountant, and she overheard it. It's just crazy how things happen.
Yeah, it is.
The beauty of your name being brought up in another room. It's
That's
awesome.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Good for you.
So what was the main focus of the real estate business when you guys just started the partnership? What kind of properties were you focused on and what was
Just
kind of
rental
the
properties, honestly, just straight up rental properties. Getting that whole system set up and processes going, because I didn't have any experience in it before that. So when I got started, I was doing everything off of spreadsheets, learning everything. Just had to find the things out the hard way, constantly looking up everything. So I am a firm believer that learning the hard way is most of the time it's the best way to learn because you're not going to make that mistake again. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just kept doing it, and then found out about different management systems and software that can help you do it. Created our whole system to manage those properties. And then when Rent Sucks started, we scaled pretty fast. So between my partner and I, like his single owned properties and the ones that we own together, it's 430 units.
Right.
And all the rest of the 700 are third party.
So how long were you doing the Rent Sucks before you guys started doing Plains Asset?
So Plains Asset just started last year,
Okay.
last March.
And how's
And
that going
so,
for you guys? I mean, as far as like switching from rental to, because what exactly does Plains Asset do?
so Plains Asset Group is a full service brokerage. We can do anything. So mainly focused on property management. So the whole reason why I started the brokerage is I already have a whole staff. I have a staff of people, I have a front desk, I have maintenance, I have all these things. And since I already have these people on the payroll, it just made sense for me to start the own brokerage rather than paying some other brokerage to do the same thing when I already have the people that I need. So that's why I got my broker's license and then just moved forward from that. And then I had a couple agents approach me and say, "Hey, well, you started your own brokerage. Do you mind if I join you?" So that's how that got started. Plus, a couple of my property managers are also licensed real estate agents. They mainly focus on that and don't do really a lot of sales, but they can if they want to. So
So nice to
that's
build
the
your own
reason why I
team.
started it, because I just wanted to keep the money, I guess you could say that.
Yeah, yeah, keep it all in house,
Yeah,
if you can.
and I can follow my own rules within, the guidelines of the law.
So when you were thinking about the brokerage, the main focus was being able to manage other properties that weren't owned by you, or
Correct.
was it to just have your own entity and be able to buy and sell without using a different broker? Kind of what was, yeah, can you lay out? Because from my understanding, you basically have to be a broker to be a third party manager, right?
Yeah, or you have to be licensed under one.
Okay.
Yeah, you just have to be a licensed agent to do that. The reason was to already have the whole management software.
Yeah.
Like I can scale thousands and thousands of units using our system. So it just made sense to do it for other people as well. And that's why I started Plains Asset Group is the main reason. And also selfishly, it also creates opportunity to get deals that maybe I normally wouldn't be able to get into.
Hmm.
Yeah. So were you guys managing other properties just under like the KW, or like was there some, did you have
I
some
did a
ability to,
couple.
you did?
I did a couple under KW, not really skilled that much. I just
Hmm.
mainly was focusing on just ours and trying to grow that and keep that going. So yeah, they're not really.
When you were an agent at KW, were you doing like what percentage of it was focused on like you and your partners, you know, growth, and what percentage of it was like, hey, I'm gonna sell somebody else's house for them?
I mainly was just my partner and I. That's the
Yeah.
main thing I was focusing on. I would have sales. Like I know Katie. Katie would come to me, said, "Hey, I want to buy a house." I'd be like, "All right, let's go find you a house." But I wasn't searching those people out, right? Mainly, I was just looking for deals for myself, and then anything that happened outside of that, yeah, I have quite a few clients that just happened because I was selling a house that we were selling. They went through the walkthrough, the open house. They said, "Hey, I'm looking for this. Can you help me?" Yeah,
Hmm.
sure. I think I can help you. And then, so most of those are like that, but I never really searched it out.
Why do you think that most realtors get in to sell other people's houses, and like and maybe I have a perception wrong, but it feels like most people get in to sell other people's houses, right? And
Yeah,
then they might dabble in some investment after they've been in it, and they think they, like, I don't hear a lot of people that get in the investment side and then on the side sell some houses. Like, I'm
yeah,
just curious why you think, because it's definitely a different path, but like you're building your own portfolio, that makes sense to me, and you're going to capture a little bit more out of every deal because you own it.
right.
Like, yeah, I mean, you think it's a capital thing, or like, why? or just people just don't know, like, hey, that is an avenue of like what you can do when you're a realtor.
Right. I just don't think people know. I think a lot of times people become a realtor because they see like, well, I want to do that. It's easy. I have all this time. I could do all these things. I could work on my own schedule. I could pick up my kids from school, and then they become realtors. And if they are successful, they realize that is actually absolutely not right. That is
Hmm.
the opposite of that. You're constantly busy. Your phone's always ringing. You can go pick up your kid, but you're picking up your kid while you're talking to a client, and you're going to go home and sign a contract and make sure you get that sent off. At the same time, you have to go call this person, make sure that this house is getting completed in time because you might be listing that, and it just goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot of realtors working open houses on the weekends or after hours. It's you're working based on your client schedule. So,
Right. I mean, if you do it right and you're a realtor and you have it all set up correctly, you could scale pretty good. You can make a good living at it, but you're going to be working.
hmm.
It's not something you can just set up and just you have a cash flow.
And I think that's the, what is it, a 3 year, like the 3 year mark, or is it 5 year where it's like, a huge percentage of realtors don't make it past, is, I don't remember, it was 3 or 5. And
I
then,
think it is three. I can't remember. I just was talking about this with somebody. You'd be amazed at how many realtors don't even make it the first year
yeah,
because they don't, they pay, it costs quite a bit to get involved in it. To become a realtor, I think it's over 3,000 the first year, and then just for the board dues to have access to the MLS and all of that. You also have to take your tests. You have to pay for your license, insurance. So it's a pretty big startup fee. And if you don't sell a single house, you, I mean, it would be defeating. And then you have to pay those dues again and all those fees again the next year and try to get business. So I think it's hard to get started.
yeah, yeah. I mean, just listening to that, like, again, like I go back to, it makes sense to, all right, if it's going to cost me 3 grand to get into real estate, maybe I should wait until I have 13,000 so I can have a $10,000 payment to fix a house up and actually sell a damn house. Whether, you know, like
Yeah. Yeah,
you kind of
absolutely.
control your own sales if you're an investor
Hmm.
as well.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it makes sense. And although on one hand you might think that sounds like a risk, might be less risk than just becoming a realtor.
Yeah. I mean,
Be
yeah.
prepared.
So to get into that, I mean, there's a lot of avenues you can do. I mean, if you have a high volume, if you're a flipper, if you flip houses or something like that, and you want to keep all as much of your profit as possible, it makes sense to get your real estate license.
Hmm.
I mean, most of the places I list are my own.
Yeah.
And if
So
someone calls and they want to list their house, I'm busy, so I'll hand it off to an agent.
when, how long did you guys have rent sucks before you started flipping sucks and you said, all right, this is kind of the next transition and where we want to go to now? Or was it like all, you kind of both at the same time?
It was 2020 when we started Rent Sucks, and I think it was 6 months later we started flipping sucks because we decided like, hey, like maybe we want to make keep because we did a couple flips. Let's protect ourselves from this because flipping, you have some liability. I don't really know a lot of the time. Never live in the house. Let's say that.
Hmm.
So I know what we did to the place, and when I fill out the seller disclosure, that's what I'm saying. But there's questions like, are the sewer lines backing up, or things like that? I don't know because I
Hmm.
never lived. So I answer those as strict as possible, but still there's some liability there. So you want to try to protect yourself with a different LLC. And then we also had another one. It was called R2O Sucks, which we ended up shutting down. That was rent to own. Try
Mm.
to sell places on contract.
Contract.
We bought a bunch of places in Nebraska with that intention. The tenants ended up staying there. We didn't really do anything with it. And then when we sold that portfolio, we just shut that down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one could be a tough line or direction to go.
Yeah.
It's kind
Yeah.
of nice to just be, just sell it and be done, unless you've got somebody who signs an annual lease for rent. So,
Yeah.
Was there a reason like that made sense in Nebraska versus, I mean, and I just pulled out that it
Well,
was in Nebraska.
we were going to continue that path and keep that going. And then the idea was to, if any one of our houses, like if it would be rent sucks, and we'd still do that today. Like
Yeah.
I would sell places on contract. I do have places sold on contract. I just shut down that piece of it because that was only the properties that were in there. But the idea was to move them into that LLC when
Mm-hmm.
they went to a contract.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I didn't, and so you kind of started. Did you guys buy a portfolio, and you're just like, hey, let's try this with this portfolio we bought?
Yep,
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the beauty of real estate too, right? Is like you get to try something, and you get to say like, oh, this is up my alley. I enjoy this one. I'm gonna keep doing this, or yeah, I don't want to try that again. That was a one time shot. What
Yep.
do, what do you feel like has been the most successful part of your business where you're like, this is probably where we are phenomenal at and kind of sets us apart? Do you have like one area or type of property or a investment style that you feel like this is kind of where we fly?
Well, I mean, it's quite a bit actually. I think, well, lately flips have been going really well. I really enjoy doing those. I like to see the transformation from,
Yeah.
just completely trashed to like, I can't believe this is the same place. We had an idea at first where we could bring someone in and say, here's the place. You can help us decide how we're going to fix it. Most people can't see past all the stuff that's wrong with the place.
Mhm.
So quickly stopped thinking that because it's just
Yeah.
people can't seem to, a lot of people don't have the vision to see past a lot of things.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think I enjoy the flipping the most right now. Buy and holds, you can buy a distressed property, fix it up, you're adding value to it. And so I like doing that too. But so it's kind of hard to answer the question. If it's real estate, I like to do it.
Yeah.
It's a good answer. So it's probably pretty rewarding for you to walk into a neighborhood with a couple of houses that look, a little downtrodden and be able to freshen it up and put a little sparkle into that neighborhood with a beautiful house and put a
Yeah,
new
absolutely.
family in there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the neighbors are happy about it too. Or they're
Mm-hmm.
not because their property taxes could go up. But
Well, yeah.
at the same time, there's a lot of rundown houses that need help. And it is nice to get those done and bring up the neighborhood a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have, like a thought process when you this is one we're going to flip or this one we're going to buy and hold? And is there like a income mindset where like, hey, if we can get X amount percentage or whatever the investment out of it, we're going to hold it. If we can't, we're going to flip it. How do you go about making that decision between holding or flipping?
There's a lot of factors. A long time ago, when we first got started, I built a calculator on a spreadsheet, and if it all fits into this, and I make a certain amount at the end for the NOI, it's going to work out. But within that same spreadsheet, I had it auto populating a flip calculator, so that because part of the rental is how much money am I going to have to put into this at the same time, right? Do I have to put anything into it? Can I just start renting it out right away? But mainly it has to make sense for the amount that you pay for it and still make money at the end with 10% vacancy, 10% maintenance costs, and I always factor in management fees. So
Mm-hmm.
right there, you have those 3 10%. And if it all makes sense after that, after doing it with debt, because also you got to leverage everything. So if all that makes sense, then it makes a good rental property. If it's not making money, then you go to the flip side. Well, what would I have to do to make this work as a flip? Can I fix it up? How much money can I put into it to make it worth this much? And that's where being a realtor comes in handy too. Doing comps, anybody can really do comps, but
Mm-hmm.
understand what the market's doing at the same time. And so now is this going to make sense? Now, I can buy this house for $100,000 and put 30,000 into it, and now I can sell it for 190. So,
So,
and then there is a certain threshold where it doesn't make sense to rent.
so would you say pretty much every property you look at, you run the numbers on both? And I mean, were you doing that before you had a crew, or was that kind of something
Yes.
where as you were always thinking this is either I'm either going to flip this or I'm going to rent it or I'm not going to buy it. There's always kind of
Right.
those three boxes.
Yep.
Nice. And then like yeah, would you say the better deals are ones that you hold or like I just kind of curious like or do you say well, I don't really want to hold more, I'd rather build my cash or we want to build our monthly cash flow. Like do you look at anything like that where you're kind of
Yeah,
thinking about business planning?
you have to look at all of it,
Yeah.
right? Where are you at that moment? Do you need a little influx of cash for something coming down the road? Something along those lines. So looking at some of the property, there's a lot of factors,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's where is it located? Is it going to be difficult? Is it going to be worth the renting it out, or do I just want to fix it and sell it and just make a little bit? Do I want to stay away from this deal altogether? All those things go through your mind at the same time. But to answer your specific question, it just main thing is if it's going to cash flow, and how much time am I going to have to spend dealing with this property?
Do you calculate in like your time and just like, oh, this one's going to take me X amount of time, or is that, I mean,
That's
just
that
curious.
management fee part,
Okay.
right? That's how I see that.
Yeah.
So I do play with that on there. If I think it's going to take more time, I might raise it to 15%.
Okay.
And if it still shows an NOI at the end, then it's good. And that's what I love about those Excel sheets.
Yeah.
You just change a few things and it lets you know right away.
Yeah. Nice. That is cool. So, and you said you built your own. I'd say, like I know, and I don't know if you're a Bigger Pockets guy, but that's where I got my first one at, is I just stole it off of Bigger Pockets, and then it took its own life after that. But like they gave me the foundation and the idea of, hey, this is what you could do, and then as I started to value different things, right, than the spreadsheet that I took off of Bigger Pockets, so I built in that, like I don't have a management fee in mind, but I like the idea of, because I just never looked at it as, I'm not paying a manager, why would I have that? But if I'm valuing my own time, I can put it as a, management fee, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Yep. And plus, what happens if you decide that you don't want to manage that property anymore? You want to hand it over to a property manager. You already have that. And at it, you don't have to worry about it. You know that it's going to cash flow because you already factored that in.
That's
Do you listen to Bigger Pockets at all? Or is that something that you ever got into?
Yes, right at first. Actually, I was started listening to Bigger Pockets right before I met John.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because everyone wants to do that. I thought, well, my neighbor's house was pretty run down. And I was like, well, if they move, maybe I could buy it, and I'm pretty handy. I know how to fix things. Maybe I can do this. So that's how I found Bigger Pockets, actually.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that. I've never heard of it before.
Yeah, you get sucked in.
Yeah. Yeah, I go in spurts and where I'll be on there and enjoying it, and then I'm like, some of it is just the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a ton of ways to do real estate, but at the same time, it's still a building and someone's trying to rent it from you, so you can only cut that cookie so many ways, in my opinion.
Mhm.
The financing and stuff can all go sideways or 100 different ways, but
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a lot to factor in on that, but for a beginner, absolutely, Bigger Pockets is something that you should listen to. It gets you thinking about a lot of different things.
Noted.
Yeah. One thing that I think you guys have done that I don't see a lot of people do is you guys are very focused on your brand. And just kind of curious what your mindset is with being so like diligent branding Rent Sucks and making sure people know what Rent Sucks is and what you guys do.
I mean, that's how you get out there, right? And plus, it's catchy. Like, I would have people stop in to the office just to ask the question: is it Rent Sue or is it Rent Sucks? And they'd answer the question like, "Oh, it's Rent Sucks." Oh, I told you, But we actually had a reporter for the Wall Street Journal come and interview us about the SUX.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, I thought that was great. But it is our own little thing. Will it work anywhere else? Probably not. Maybe not. When I talk to companies outside of Sioux City that don't know about our airport code or anything like that, they think most of the time they think it's genius. Like that's fantastic. When I give my email address, Jamie@redsox.net, it sticks out, especially around here. And then when you tell people that, like, yeah, rent does suck, or they're signing their check, or rent sucks, yeah, it does. Here's your check.
Cathartic. Yeah.
It spread. Well, they can mainly the website. Our website's been getting a lot of hits, a lot recently, but I think that's because it goes all of our listings go all over the place. But there's two ways to get to our listings, and it's rentsucks.net and plainsassetgroup.com. They both take you to the same place.
Yeah, and I asked that because I think like you again, I feel like you've done something that a lot of people aren't, right? You're branding your rental properties and the fact that you own them and manage them. And like, I don't think a lot of people that are in, the rental
Yeah.
business are branding themselves, and
Right.
saying like, I'm the place you should come if you want to rent a property.
Yeah. Yeah. I see. Yeah. And it's kind of just telling you what it is. Rent sucks, and then the flipping sucks, right?
Hmm.
It makes people want to come to us. So the idea of branding that is great because now everybody's coming to us not only to possibly rent from us, but they're also like, you have a bunch of rental properties, you want to buy ours?
Hmm.
Yeah,
And a lot of ours came just because of that,
brilliant.
mainly just for because of that name. I want to say now I think about it.
Yeah, yeah, and I would assume like if I started a website for rental properties, it probably wouldn't get that many hits, right? Because it doesn't have a brand, and people aren't necessarily saying like, show me rental companies in Sioux City, right? They're thinking I want to rent a house, so they're probably going to, one of these places. But yeah, I just think how important, a brand is, and you guys have done an awesome job. I can't think of really another rental company in town. I know other property management companies. And but again, I think if someone's saying, "Hey, I want to rent a property," and I'm going to go on to somebody's website, Rent Sucks. I know they rent properties. I don't necessarily know these other property managers,
Right.
and like even then, you think in your head like they're a property manager. I don't go there to rent my property. They're there to manage the properties, and I think, yeah, I just think that's a super genius thing. And it's, I think it's probably been a huge part that your website does do so well. And yeah, and I know the logo, right? Like, again, I can't
Yeah.
tell you any other logos. Like, it kind of, I would say Rent Sucks is almost synonymous with Century 21's logo, KW's
Mm.
logo, but it's not the same industry. But you think of it in the same, I guess, like branding so well that it makes a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is honestly John, my partner's, he's the one that thought of that. So I got to give credit to him. That wasn't.
Is he a
Well,
marketing
and you're
guy?
look.
What's that?
Is he a marketing guy?
Yeah, he's good at it. I'm gonna be honest with you. He thinks that way.
That's awesome.
I was gonna say your location too. I mean, right there off of Sixth Street. I think
Yeah.
that's the first time I ever saw it was driving down and you see that building. Oh, it sticks out. The visibility's awesome, and you know how I
Yeah.
feel about visibility. So yeah, I think that's awesome. And then the other thing too is you guys support a lot of events in our community, and I see you out networking all the time. I don't, yeah, I can't think of any other property management companies that I've seen at every single chamber event or even, as a sponsor to a charity event. So you guys obviously are doing good things in the community on multiple levels. Like what made you guys want to start doing fundraising events?
But just being a part of it, trying to help out. So we do we help a lot of people find housing. We have a lot of lower income housing as well, and there's a, an alarming amount of people that need help. And so we work with a lot of different organizations like Safe Place, Siouxland Mental Health, just all of them. We
The one
house
that
a lot
sticks
of
out, Center for Siouxland.
Center for Siouxland, yeah. So I'm on a board with them. So yeah, we just being a part of all of it, trying to be out there and let everybody know that we do care. We do care. We just want to try to get everything fixed and try to keep everybody housed. And being downtown in Sioux City right now has become quite a bit challenging, but
Hmm.
we're gonna work through it. So I think the furthest we have right now is Ottawa.
Okay.
We bought the Monona Motel, and it was already gutted, and we converted it into 11 apartments,
Oh, cool.
11 really nice apartments. It's right there on Main Street. Um, the reason why we did it is there was a grant. It was a COVID era money. They would have to send it back if it wasn't used. But we did that, and it was a sizable amount. It was $600,000 grant to do this building. You know, that never would have happened without that.
Mhm.
Would never have went for that. But yeah, so the furthest one is Ottawa. We did the same type of conversion in Sloan, turned a
Hmm.
old hotel into apartments, and yeah,
You know, there's still, you know, reaching out because I can't find an opportunity in Sioux City, or do you feel like that, or is
no, yeah, yes and no. I mean, there's a lot of your smaller towns have a lot of opportunity in them, um, especially for investment properties. I would say maybe not so much for your flips unless you can get them at the right price. But I mean, there's a lot of opportunity in your small towns.
Hmm.
So going that far, if that's what you're talking about, like I do see small towns as being a good market to get into.
Mm-hmm.
Your bigger cities, you have a lot of people you're going up against. There's a lot of different avenues people can go down to try to get the most bang out of their buck. So I'll give you a for instance, like there is opportunity here in Sioux City. There absolutely is. So if somebody calls me, I'll give you a for instance how it would go. A lady calls me, I go over to her house. She is interested in selling it. So I go through it. Like, okay, I like your house. This is how much I can give you for it. But I'm also a broker and a real estate agent. So I tell her, this is how much you can get on the market. So it's up to you. Like, this is just cash, it's guaranteed, or we can put it on the market and you might get this and it might be out there for a few months, but then totally up to you. You'd be surprised at how often people will take that money now. They just don't want to wait. They have a situation, they already have a number in mind. And so that's how recently a lot of deals have been going.
And like legally, you have to do that, right? As a broker and a real
Yeah,
estate
I
agent.
definitely know I'm a real estate agent, or broker, realtor,
Yep.
licensed real estate agent. And that's always what I start. I tell them right off the bat,
Yep.
just so you know, I'm a licensed agent, I'm a broker, just to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Yep. And like if I was to go into that house, I wouldn't have to tell them a market value, right? I could just say,
Right.
I think your house is worth, $20,000. I don't think it would bring a dime more that if you call the realtor. Like I could do that, right? But as a real
Yep.
estate agent, you can't.
Right.
I think I
Right.
read that on Bigger Pockets, probably.
You're absolutely right. And I mean, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that anyway.
Yeah,
You
that's
Hmm.
not
know?
the point.
Yeah.
You're building
I,
trust.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that person is now going to say that to their friends,
Hmm.
and then they might give me a call. So that's how a lot of my business is happening now. Is I already did a deal with this person. They told this person how awesome it went and everything that we did, and then that person, it just keeps going.
Yeah, and I mean, people get attached to the house, so they want to see good things happen to it. So
Yeah.
it's like once you have shown that you're going to do good things and you're going to be a nice steward of what they loved, then they love that. That makes them feel good. They feel good that they did the right thing. I agree. I think, and I'm just like a big believer in karma, and like good things come to good people, and if
Right.
you do right by people, then good things will keep coming.
We do. You'd be surprised at how many people ask the question when you're buying their house, well, especially if they've lived there their whole lives. This last one that we are closing on here next week is she lived there for, I don't know, 40 years, 45 years, and her question was, are you going to fix it up and sell it to a family, or are you going to rent it? So she was like, are you going to fix it up to a family, or are you going to rent it? So I was like, no, I'm going to fix it up and sell it to a family. And then she was okay with it.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. I love that.
I can see that. Yeah. Yeah. I would want my family home to be rented out to another family. Absolutely.
Do you, like, uh, lost my train of thought there. Katie, you got anything?
Oh,
I had
sorry.
something
No,
more.
sorry. I just jumped in there. I'm curious when because you've had agents that want to just join your team. I know that you've got a lot of family members working for you. How does that dynamic work? Because like there are different roles, right? Like agents, maintenance, like how does that work for you guys having a family affair?
It could be awesome, but it could be a pain sometimes too. There's both sides of that coin. So yeah, so my oldest son is actually one of my agents. He's a licensed real estate agent. He's also a property manager for me. and he does a lot. He's busy constantly. He runs around all over the place. And yes, you're right. Like my brother-in-law, he's one of my maintenance guys.
Hmm.
One of my nephews, he's one of my agents. So,
Well, and Liz is John's sister,
yep,
so it's
yep,
like,
all in the
yeah, I know
family.
it could probably be tough, but like I'm sure it's wonderful to work, and build that legacy as as a whole, just
Yeah,
in general.
yeah, it is awesome. It is nice to do that, and I get to see my kid all the time too. So that's also nice. But he's not so much a kid anymore. He's a man.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of set him up in the right direction.
Yeah.
Do you foresee him taking over or being like a partner at some point, or what's the long-term goal there?
I don't know. I guess it depends on what he wants to do. Being in property management is a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. You deal with all kinds of things. So you start your day thinking, I'm going to get this, and this done. And you didn't get all of it done because
Oh
the
yeah.
whole day, especially with as many units as we have, this person's fridge stopped working. That's not a very big one, but the furnace went out at this place. Someone came and broke their windows. Now we have to get that fixed. It's just one thing after another. And a lot of it, and how our system's set up, it tells us if it's critical, urgent, or just normal. You just stay busy all the time, and then tenant complaints and dealing with everything. It can be a lot throughout the day. So I segued into that to say, I don't know if he'll stick around.
Don't know if he'd want to, right?
Yeah.
Don't know if
Yeah,
you want him
You're
to.
giving him a good giving him a good outlook at what that can look like. You said, some of the toughest challenges are, when it goes bad, it's good to learn from that. So you're
good.
giving him a thick skin. Yeah.
That's right.
I'm the same way with wrestling. Like everyone's like, "Oh, your kids are gonna wrestle," because I coached wrestling for so long, and I'm always like, I don't. I mean, I love them too, right? But I'm also a realist and like, it's not that fun, Like if they could golf, like I'm very supportive of that. They're gonna have no neck problems, no back problems. They're not
Yeah,
gonna have an ear that looks deformed. Like like I'm not gonna tell you that wrestling's the only path that you should go. So yeah, and I laugh. So, we have some rental properties. My mom sent me a text yesterday when we were there for Thanksgiving. My daughter was downstairs playing with her cousin, and she wrote a letter to Jimmy, which is my name when we're messing around. That's what she calls me. I don't know why, but she wrote a letter to Jimmy saying that Jimmy owed her $200 because he said the water was not working, and when they went over, it was working. So now Jimmy has to pay her $200 for the service fee. And my mom's like, I think she's listening a little too close to you, Jake. I'm like, oh yeah, that is not good, but maybe she's gonna make it in real estate if she gets in. She
that's
values
right.
her time. But I'll probably save that one and put it in her scrapbook. And when she buys her first investment property, I'm gonna be like, all right, you got to be tough.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's good.
I got three more questions for you, then we'll let you get out of here. What is a specific book or leadership or real estate that you've read that you think has helped you either in just in life or in real estate?
Rich Dad Poor Dad was a big one for me, and then that whole series. It's not just the one book, and I got through all of them. I did, but the first Rich Dad Poor Dad I like four times. It just really started making you think differently. But yeah, if you look at my Audible, it's mainly just business related things like how to be a better leader, it's basically how to or different mindsets, and try to I just stay in that realm. That's what I'm interested in. I don't read or do much fiction type things, but it's mainly just if it can help me, I'll spend time in it. Yes, and I went. I was gonna try to find that name of that book before this podcast, and I didn't have time. I can't remember. Yeah, but there is one. I wish I could remember the name of it, but it really changed me. I changed how I think about everything that happens for leadership.
Okay.
Being a leader has a lot of different aspects to it, right? Like what type of leader you are, and a lot of times it's being a leader is hard. You know,
Hmm.
you there's a lot to do,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of questions, never stops. So that's the one I always tend to go for is any type of book like that.
What do you feel like?
Sit in silence.
Interesting.
I'll be honest with you, sitting in silence, just sometimes I'll drive when I'm driving from one place to the next. A lot of times I'm making phone calls, but I will just turn off the radio and mute my phone, and I'll just drive and just wherever my thoughts take me, but sit in silence. It's almost like a meditation moment, you know. But that's a big one for me. And then another things would be getting up early and getting your day started right. And now that's about it. Other than that, I really don't have any other big
That sounds like
glorious thing that I
audiobooks.
do.
How many audiobooks do
Yeah,
you think you listen to a year?
it was quite a bit. I know. I guess I couldn't give you a number, but lately, honestly, I've been like you guys master class at all?
Interested. Haven't done it yet.
We tried it for a year, my wife and I keep forgetting to cancel the subscription that renews every year. Like, oh, looks like we get to get it for another year. But I like those. It's just different people. Like, uh, I can't remember his name, but the negotiator is a master negotiator.
Oh yeah,
How to negotiate?
Chris. Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah, Chris
yeah.
Voss. I love him.
Things like that. I like that. I've been listening to a lot of that lately.
So what is it called again?
Class.
Master class.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look
It's
that
an
up.
app, and there's just all these. Martha Stewart has one on there. It's just all kinds of different people, leaders in their fields, and they just talk about whatever it is they're going to talk about. It could
Hmm.
be. Check it out. Yeah, I think you'll like it.
Yeah.
The one I
Well,
saw was Kim Kardashian that really like intrigued me, but it's like branding yourself.
Yeah,
How do you brand yourself and just how it got her successful. So I'll take your note. I'll definitely look into that one.
yep, I like that. Um, Last one. If you could spend the whole day without your phone ringing and having no responsibility, what would you do? I love asking anybody in real estate that because they're like, I don't think that's possible.
yeah. I'd probably go to sleep. Yeah, I'd probably go to sleep.
20, 24
No, I
hours of
don't.
darkness.
Yeah, I'm a musician as well,
Oh, nice.
so I'd probably just focus on that. That's one thing I got away from that hurts the most, I guess you could say. I used to play all the time. I've been in bands for 20, almost, yeah, about 20, over 20 years, up until about 4 years ago.
Oh,
And then I haven't really done, I play, I got them hanging on my wall. The intent of that was to play them. They just hanged. So I guess if you to answer that question, I'd probably sit and play some music.
So what's like your favorite genre or artist?
My favorite artist, the reason why I started playing guitar is Stevie Ray Vaughan. I actually
good
named my
choice.
oldest son, his middle name is Vaughn. Um, but yeah, that's the whole reason. I love the blues. If I pick up a guitar, that's usually one.
That's pretty cool. I've never been to a blues concert. I think I'd probably love it, but never been. So maybe that's something that needs to be on my bucket list. I know they used to have like a blues night at the Hard Rock, right, when they first opened. The provost at Morningside was a huge blues fan, and he told me, that's what he was doing is he was really enjoying like the blues series they had, and I remember thinking like, gosh, I should go to that. It's right in my backyard. Why don't I do that? And I never did, and I don't think they do it anymore. So I think I missed my chance, unfortunately.
We're pretty lucky to get some of those artists down at the Vanguard sometimes too. I
Yeah,
know my in-laws hit up more live shows than I do down there because he follows blues. So check them out too.
yeah, well,
Well, anything else from Jamie? We're rentsucks.net. Anywhere else we can find you and people can locate you?
yeah. Rentsox.net and Plains Asset Group, Plains, like the Great Plains, PlainsAssetGroup.com.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. And we'll probably, hopefully, see you at a real estate meetup sometime if we ever get one of those going again.
Yeah, yeah. Sounds good. I look forward to it actually.
Nice having you on, Jamie.
Yep, thank you.
All right. See you guys. Thanks.
See ya.